you for joining us. Great to have you on the platform. And, we've been, very excited to have, to introduce technologies to organizations in this region. And I think your platform is a technology that is coming at the right time, especially when organizations are, planning for the next year and trying to have optimized levels of recruitment and optimized teams, and they're looking at the entire talent acquisition and sourcing structures. So this is a perfect time to have something like this. So I'm going to begin by asking you, what is Candidate.ID?
Yeah, no, and thank you again, Danish, for inviting us, and delighted to be working with you, in the MENAT region, given all of your kind of expertise and credentials. And so what is Candidate.ID? So our proposition is really, around how do you hire or place the best talent as as quickly as possible, as cost effectively as possible, and with the fewest possible resources. And we are, if anyone's familiar with marketing automation platforms like Eloqua, Marketo, HubSpot, Pardo, they're all billion-dollar companies now. But Candidate.ID is essentially a marketing automation platform that's built specifically for recruitment and talent acquisition. But not many people in talent acquisition, have heard of them because they're kind of very famous in business to business. So, sorry, I had the kids coming in, and
no worries.
Yeah. So where do we sit? If you kind of simplistically, break recruitment. Let's start with recruitment as opposed to internal kind of talent fluidity or mobility or anything. Let's just start with the external talent acquisition. If you break recruitment down simplistically into hunting and farming, okay, so farming is where you have a human conversation underway with a person that meets your needs. So you've confirmed to them that you're a good match for what we're looking for, and they've confirmed back to you that they're interested in the job that you've got. Then you're into a hiring process, okay? You're into interviewing and assessment and offer and onboarding and all of that stuff. Right. And that's farming, okay? And that's perfectly well managed by some of the great technologies that are out there, ATS, CRM, modern ATS, CRM. We do believe that ATS is going to eat CRM. Okay, as a technology layer. In fact, it's already happening, so that manages the farming piece really well. You come across into hunting. Okay, now hunting becomes really, really important where what you're currently doing is not good enough. It's not getting you where you need to go. Okay, right. So you don't get enough applications, you don't get enough quality, relevant within the applications. You get way too many, masses of them. Okay, so you have to be a lot better at hunting, right? And hunting is all about how do we identify, find, target the people that we'd like to talk to and that we'd like to hire. Okay, how do we get them interested? How do we spark their interest? How do we make them aware? And then how do we engage them? Okay, and then how do we convert them? Okay, but there may be a how do we nurture them for a long period of time or a short period of time, depending on the roles and the seniority and things like that. Now that's all hunting. That's where we play. Okay, and now
so it's not an ATS basically.
No.
Okay. Perfect.
No, it's a marketing automation platform built specifically for recruitment. It's talent lead generation. It's a talent lead generation platform, right? And talent lead generation is really just the kind of starting point of talent pooling and talent pipelining and talent pipeline automation. Okay, but we don't power all of hiring, but we do look to power, 30, 40, 50% of the in-demand, hiring the STEM talent, diverse talent, the things that are, and why it's really important there is because, people who are in demand, okay, generally don't apply. Okay, I mean, unless they're out of work or they're active or they're really desperate or unhappy where they are, they don't apply
because they know what's strategy for those
and so
candidates.
So I'll show you how our technology kind of, because with pretty much every other technology, they're all anonymous, they're invisible. You don't see them until they apply. Whereas our technology with all the tracking and the scoring shows you, who is looking at your jobs and have they learned about the company, okay? And so you can understand who's cold, who's warm, or who's hot, and who should be called right now, okay?
Interesting.
And that's, if you can understand who's cold, who's warm, who's hot, then you've got the beginnings of a pipeline and you know what to do at each of the stages of the pipeline.
So this leads to my next question, is how does it work? I mean, we know where it fits into the process, but how does it actually work?
Okay, so we're going to dive in and look at the product, right, in a bit, but how it works is, so it's pixel to cookie based tracking that is joined up by technologies that are kind of fingerprint and reverse IP lookup, right? So what that means is that the minute that a person touches any of your content assets, okay, now that could be your career site, could be your corporate site, could be a post on LinkedIn or a sourcing reach out or a CEO's post on LinkedIn or a article on Glassdoor or a Facebook ad, anything like that, any content. The minute that they touch on that, we're able to put a pixel on them, okay? Tracking pixel on them, okay? And whenever they keep doing it, we keep doing that. But in order to get a cookie on them and to track them properly, they've got to do something, okay? They've got to open an email, okay, from the send from Candidate.ID, or they've got to put their offer up their email into a form. At which point our technology just backfills to the minute that the tracking pixel was put on them. So we're able to track all of the history, and then we can put a scoring algorithm against that, okay, which enables you to understand about the company, whether somebody's learning about the culture, or whether somebody's actually looking at the job opportunities repeatedly and the scores start to climb. So it's actually really easy to identify
all their activities on any of your platforms. Wow, amazing.
And we do that in a number of different ways. Now, you would say to me, Danish, that's all fine, Scott, but I like to stay hidden. Okay, I've got 3 different personal email addresses. I've switched between Chrome and Firefox. I sometimes go incognito, and that's all fine. Understand that, right? Understand that. Everybody does that. But at some point, when you're meaningfully interested, okay, you will open an email or you will fill out a form on your main email address, because that you're interested, okay, and you want to kind of progress the engagement. Now our technology, which is what makes us unique, is the way it's exactly the same about what makes marketing automation unique to CRM. What makes us unique versus ATS or recruitment CRM is our database architecture, okay? So our database architecture is built around the unique identifying field being the email address, okay? Right. So the minute you present yourself on your usual email address, we can track it, we can tie everything, all the stuff that you've previously done to that, and now we know that it's Danish, okay? We know that Danish has done X, Y, Z, and if you've been using another personal email, we can associate that to the profile, okay? You come across too. I don't want to get too into this, right? Because they are great technologies, but they just don't get you where you need to go, because on ATS and CRM, the unique identifier field in their database architecture is the 15-digit code that gets created when a new record gets created. Now I imagine people spell your name differently sometimes and make mistakes, so duplicates get in the database, right? And it's an ongoing chronic problem, and that means you can see who's opening emails, but you don't know if it's the real Danish, because there's multiple Danishes in there, right? So that's the big challenge in hunting, is being able to tie everything in so that these people become visible and you understand their stage of interest.
And from the recruitment perspective, and I've been in the recruitment business for 30 years now. From a recruiter's perspective, it's a warm lead rather than doing a cold call to someone who doesn't even know who you are. So it's a warm lead. You already know who that individual is. You already know where they've been. You know their level of interest. You know what articles they have read. You know what jobs they have seen. So, it kind of builds that relationship before you connect with that individual.
Yeah, absolutely. And so not everybody who, our technology will every single day serve up hot leads to recruiters, right? Not everybody's going to convert, right? Okay. But what we're able to do is, if you imagine that you had 1,000 candidates for a, senior technical architect in the Middle East, we're going to be able to show you the three, so maybe less than 0.2% will apply. Okay, we'll show you the next 3 to 5% that are actively reading about your company and looking at your jobs right now. So the recruiters call them. Right. Okay, and we would always say to the talent acquisition leader, which is like, how much more productive would your recruitment team be if all they did was talk to people that wanted to work for you and met your criteria? That's all they did. Forget about the admin, and then you obviously have some sources or maybe some marketeers who drive the rest of how do we find them and how do we get them to that stage. So, very interesting. So look, I'm excited to have a peek. Is there something you can show us? Yeah, no. Okay. So can you just let me know that you can see my screen?
I can see your screen,
Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to sign in. So I thought
this is the landing page, basically.
Yeah, so it's SaaS. It's monthly SaaS, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to start from a recruiter, okay? Because, my recruiters make up the majority of a big recruitment team, okay? So they're the most important people, okay?
Yeah.
We've really got to deliver for them, okay? We also know that recruiters are, they're already in email or Slack, they're already in LinkedIn, they're already in the ATS, okay? We really don't want them going somewhere else unless we can avoid that, okay? So we've got to deliver for them firstly in their flow of work. So I can't show it to you here, but we deliver a lot of daily email alerts, which, so these are the candidates that are assigned to you, Danish, the senior technical architects, okay, this is who's been active in the last 24 hours. This is how they grade. They're grading 85% match and they've scored 60 points. So that comes in on email every day. You click on that and that takes you to the ATS, to Workday or Lever or Greenhouse or Workable or Smart Recruiters or whatever. And we show a synopsis of the information in there, like what are the last 10 things that they've done, what's the score, what's their grade. And then from there you click and you come into Candidate.ID to really dig in. So typically a recruiter, by the time they get to Candidate.ID, already knows 2 or 3 people that they're going to be calling. So the first thing that they want to do is they want to look at their pipeline, okay? So we've got the dashboard, we've got all of your your email inboxes, which we didn't, integrating, with the email sync with any kind of one-to-one with candidates. You got the master candidate database. I'm going to show you the source and match capabilities for sourcing, but you got your, your different pipelines. There can be pipelines in a company, okay? And then you've got the different stages, cold, warm, hot, the big scoring algorithm that sits underneath everything. I'm going to show you the campaign builder, which is made up of, landing pages, emails, forms, all the content assets, how you tie stuff to different jobs, what the automation rules are and how you build. Okay, so I've come in, okay, and let's just say I'm going to look at, I want to look at engineers. I'm looking after software engineers, and let's just say I'm looking at London, okay? I already know from the email alerts I'm going to call 2 or 3 of them, but I want to go and see who else I'm going to call. So I'm just going to click straight on those that are looking, hire ready, okay? So I can rank them by, kind of what stage they're at, when they were last active, but when there was an ID score. Now, if they'd been run, obviously when you match people in terms of their fit against what you're looking for, the score is different if you're looking for a data scientist or a technical architect or chief technology officer. So if that's been run, it would show you on here as well. But so Caroline Tassel is scoring highest at 23 in our software engineers who are based in London. I'm going to look at her. Okay, so she's an analog designer. She scored A+. These are all her kind of contact details. She's actually assigned to Billy as a recruiter. She's part of these segments. Okay, so we've got all her social media handles. We've got what specifically has she done from an activity point of view. So she's looked at this page, looked at that page. You know, she's opened this. She's met the team, looked at job opportunities. All of the kind of call and notes, email integration, or how you parse all the documents, how you manage all the their preferences from a communications point of view, and then the data processing from a GDPR point of view is all in here. Okay, now I can I can call her. I can email her. I can call her, or I can SMS her straight from here. Okay, yeah. So that is so if I go to come back and I have a look at engineers and I can view the 2000 from there. So that's what that's what recruiters would typically do, is they're looking for, who are all the, I'm in the call mode now. Who am I going to call? Okay. There's 26 candidates for me to call. I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at who's high score, who's best grading, and I'll work out my call list. I would also probably have a look and see what content they engaged with last, maybe less about the job, more about the company, about, maybe they read a CEO's blog or something. And I would use that as my, phone message or email reach out, or in, LinkedIn or whatever. Okay.
Yep.
So that is that's a kind of recruiter workflow. Okay. Then you come to like a sourcing workflow. Okay. So Candidate.ID can search across your ATS data, your CRM data, and then whatever data is in the Candidate.ID database in one search. Okay. And it can also, but we can also auto source from a whole bunch of more than 175 plus different job boards. So this is just okay. So if I look at, this is all demo data, right? Okay, but I'm gonna just use LinkedIn Basic. Okay, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put in, let's just say senior technical architect. Okay, I'm gonna use LinkedIn Basic. Okay, I want to go to United Arab Emirates. Okay, so what have we got? So this is this. Why is it doing that? Okay.
Maybe remove the
parenthesis and see. That's weird. Let's try
something like a marketing manager, something generic.
Yeah, I was going to.
Or okay. CTO. Are you connected, logged in on LinkedIn, or does it require any logins?
Yeah, no, it should be, because it's coming up and I'm logged in as Billy. So it's clearly not something that is, it's clearly not something, this might be something to do with the, let's do CV library, and let's choose UK just for and then we can come back.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of it.
Here we go.
Okay, so choose London, 10 miles. We'll just do that and see what happens. So see what it pulls. So it pulls, so there's 100 in total, and they're all graded by the match against that basic search. Okay, so obviously you can layer up the complexities of the search.
Yeah.
So we might want to take it, let's just say that what we wanted to do is we wanted to take the just the top 20 in terms of the match, right?
Okay.
So we're looking at 82% match, above, and what we want to do, select all of those, and then we could add them straight into any one of our pipelines. I created that senior technical architects, UAE pipeline we can go back and try and see if LinkedIn's actually LinkedIn's working. but you add them straight into that pipeline. Okay, you can then select that, it's me that owns them. You can create a specific, segment search around London and add tags. So now you've added them straight into that pipeline. Okay. So let's go back and let's do, and I can't believe there's not any. Thank you. I can't believe that there are. Yes, must be a LinkedIn. Must be a problem with LinkedIn. Anyway, okay. So we've got those. Now we've sourced all of the different candidates and we've added them into a pipeline. Okay.
Yep. And you said that it can source from multiple platforms.
Yeah, there's 175 plus. We've only got the 4 in. We've only got the 4 in the demo here. Okay,
and you obviously need to be a member with all of those platforms before you can source, right?
Yeah. So it's
at least
so there's
an account.
Yeah, you need to have. Yeah, you would be using your credentials. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So the credentials that we're using on the demo data here is my credentials into LinkedIn Basic, and then the demo credentials.
That's a very powerful tool, because if it can accumulate, or if it can regenerate data into one place from multiple sources, then imagine the amount of time the recruiters are going to save from opening 10 different websites to opening just the candidate ID.
Yeah, so you would pick all the different, you would
exactly.
pick, all the ones that you wanted to, and then you would, just search from there and go from there. Okay, so and then what you've done is, and then you've added them into, you've added them into the pipeline. So if we came here. When I did it earlier today, there were about 60 plus people as a senior technical architects into the UAE. Okay, so you would have 60 different kind of candidates in here. Okay, but I can show you that from a pipeline point of view, if we look at Java developers that have been pulled from CV Library earlier before. Okay, so they haven't actually done anything yet, because that's what their ID score is. They haven't been, if they've been engaging with content, they would be sitting in there. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you come back and you have a look at, if we have a look at our customer professional services, is 100 in this pipeline. Okay. And, you've got Millennium scoring high on 111. Okay. She's looking at job opportunities. You've got Christine Bolam, who hasn't done much. She's cold. So you can rank, who you're going to call from here. So that's like from a recruiter point of view.
Yeah.
From okay. So then you've got now this is either a sourcing or a marketing task. Is we've added, we found the candidates. They're a great match. We might reach out to them straight away. Or we might look to engage them with different types of content. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we have is the engagement studio, which is what I'm going to show you, and build up of emails, landing pages, SMS text messages, all of your forms, kind of links and downloads, how you categorize your content across, countries around the world.
Okay.
So your content, would be, videos, pages on the career site, custom redirects to Glassdoor, etc., like that. All the different forms that you might include in different, landing pages. Landing pages are the same as kind of as emails, in terms of you need a great what you see is what you get editor. So if we have a look at, and you get all the stats on emails and everything. Okay, so if we have a look at this one here, which is, okay, so I'll just load. So what's really important is you have stuff that's on brand and looks great from a consumer point of view. Okay, so and it's got to be really easy to to edit and drag and drop and change. So typically we will work with whoever just to set up the templates at the start, so that they're there and they're just drag and drop, and text-based emails or landing page emails, and you can use landing pages. You can knit them into mini career sites. So all of those content assets are ready, and then but then we come to the kind of engagement studio. Okay, so if I was to create, let's just say we had so we've sourced those 60 you know, we've sourced those 60 technical architects. Okay, and what we want to do is put them through an initial campaign. So this is like, okay, so what we do is we would pick this that pipeline there, and everybody was in that. What we would, this is really important here, is if we leave this as no, should new pipeline or segment candidates enter the campaign, if we leave that as no, then that means it just goes to the people that are in the database. If we leave that as yes, okay, that means that anybody that gets added to this pipeline automatically gets this campaign. Okay.
Okay.
So, you know, you can source, we have a lot of clients just source straight into it. Okay, they go find another 50, 60, they add them straight into this campaign, okay, that I'm about to build for you. Or a form, you know, if somebody lands on a landing page from a Facebook advert and they see a form and they click, you know, to submit their details and get more information, they automatically get added to this campaign as well. Okay.
Right.
Let's just say that, you know, really important days, you know, would be, you know, let's go, so let's just say that we wanted to send it on a Friday and a Saturday, you know, for UAE, and we wanted to do it like, you know, between 6 o'clock and, you know, 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Yep.
So that's when we want to send it. And so it's only going to go out on those times. Okay.
Yep.
And, right, so now I get to the first thing that we want to do, let's just say that it could be text, it could be social media, but let's just say it was email first, right? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to send them, there's a whole bunch of different actions that we've got here, okay? Send an email, send a text message, you know, move them to a different pipeline, or just, you know, but let's just say we wanted to send them an email, okay? So we would pick one of the emails that we had, you know, we'd pre-made, okay?
Yep.
So we've got, so that's E1. Now we want to do, okay, and we want to wait, you know, 1 day. Okay, so now we've got the send email, right? So what we also, then we've got a whole load of decisions, you know, so did they open the email, did they visit the URL, did they click on the form, did the email bounce, so we can, are they in Dubai, or, you know, all of these different, you know, things that we can use to start prioritizing.
This is interesting stuff.
So let's just say we want to do, did they open the email, okay, so we do open, you know, open E1, and we select, you know, we'd select the email 1 that we'd pre-selected. Obviously, if we built them, they would be pre-populated there. Yeah. And we'll give them a day to open it, okay? So now we know whether they've opened it or not, okay? Now, everybody that's opened email 1, that's fine. But for those that didn't, okay, you know, why don't we send them a subject swap out, okay?
Yep.
So it's the same email, but just with a much quirkier subject line, okay? So that would be email 1, subject swap out, we would select, and we'll wait, you know, let's wait, you know, 2 days before they get that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's fine. Okay. Now,
so Scott, this is basically the automation of the process, right?
Yeah, this is the build. This is how you build like an easy campaign. Okay. Now,
okay, perfect.
I'm just gonna, you know, in the interest of speed, I'm just gonna do another one here. So, like, you know, did they, you know, okay, so did they open the email? Okay, and that would be email, and we'll give them 1 day to do that. Okay, so now if they haven't opened that one, right, let's send them a text message. Okay, we really want them to look at this job, right? Okay. Okay, and we'll give them 1 day to do that. So now we've got, it could be a job, it could be, you know, a great bit of content, but we've got 3 bites at the cherry here. Now you will drive kind of like 50, 60, 70% open rates just off by doing that. And then you can repeat it a week later, You can, you know, test all the logic, you know, okay, in terms of what the flow is, you know, did they open the email 1? Okay, yes, they did. Did it go down that way? Yeah. Okay. Did they open email 1? No, they didn't open email 1, so then they get the subject swap out. Did they open the subject swap out? No, they didn't. Then they get the text, okay, and on they go. So very, very simple to build all those things. But I'm going to show you, I just want to show you this very quickly, because this is where the real power kind of sits. So let's just say it's, senior technical architects in UAE, and you've got so you've got a current database which you're running through, types campaigns like that will surface best match and who high intent. But really what you need to hunt a lot more. So direct sourcing, programmatic, advertising, etc. Now that when you do that is going to drive some people to apply. That's fine, okay, but the chances are there'll be a huge wave of people behind that are interested, okay, and you really want to know whether they're top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, or bottom of the funnel, okay?
Yeah.
So all of that activity brings them to a landing page that has got a few different options.
Yeah.
It could be it could be register your interest. It could be access our 5 gigabyte digital rollout plan. It could be stay in touch. A lot of different things.
Yeah.
And so some people just source, as I said, straight into pipelines. Some people wait for them to fill out forms or open emails, but let's just say that they come in here, you get that first email. Those that don't open it get a subject swap out, and then a week later they get a second email. Okay, those that don't open it get a subject swap out. Those that don't open that get a text message, and then they get a third email, and those that don't open that get a subject swap out, and those that open they get a text message. Okay, that's all great. That's kind of like what we just talked about,
right?
But the real power of this is the automation that sits behind everything. Okay, so if the candidates grade high against the match in terms of what you're looking for, okay, and they score high in points in a 24-hour period because they start looking at jobs, the recruiter gets an automatic notification. Okay.
Yeah.
If they score high in terms of the match and visit the job URL and they look at the apply form but they don't apply, then the recruiter gets notified. Okay. If they're not a good match, okay, then they get moved into thanks but no thanks, or go learn this type thing. And anybody who is a good match, like an A or B, just gets added to either a conversion or a future nurture campaign. So that just whirs away in the background.
Okay, that's great. So in your experience, typically what is a typical process? I mean, do you engage with employers, and then what happens in that engagement after you've done the initial due diligence? Does the employer give you access to their data, or you do an implementation and then the employer does their own data migration? How does it work from the technical perspective? Just an overview to get an idea.
Yeah, we pretty much always start with the existing data set. Okay, that could be in the ATS or the CRM. And that's because generally those databases are a real gold mine, but they're stale. They're out of date. They go out of date so quickly. They're out of date, and there's no way of them to keep them, up to date. So we have a program around data migration where we can automatically refresh and enrich and what we call normalize, dedupe all of that, so that you can then segment it properly according to the roles that you want. A lot of companies, when they're moving from one ATS to another ATS, do that on the way, so that when they start in the new TS, they've got a, fully active, GDPR compliant, engaged database, and they're running Candidate.ID on top of it. So that happens a lot. So we always start with the existing data, okay? That doesn't have to be right at the start. It doesn't have to be down to an integration, okay? It's normally always a kind of like CSV export, and then start a few talent pools and pipelines going, and then and then work towards like a bi-directional sync with the ATS or the CRM, okay? So pretty much always start with talent pool and talent pipelining on the existing data set, okay? And then you start to layer, okay, how do we attract new people, either from a sourcing point of view or from a recruitment marketing point of view? How do we bring them in? What should we engage them with? And what, the content is normally already there. It's already on the career side of the course, and all you're looking to do is then just get through into that process of who is it that's scoring high and is ready for a hiring conversation.
And what you said is very important, which is, bringing the old candidates back to life, because once they have shift it to Candidate.ID, they can create their entire marketing campaign and start running it on their existing databases, and then start tracking candidates who respond to it, who don't respond to it, why did they respond to it, how did they respond to it, and they can bring the entire database to life, because databases do get outdated very quickly. Most people only update their resumes and profiles when they're looking for a job. So that I think is a very important piece when it comes to this technology.
Yeah, and what we'll find is that we will be able to refresh and activate about 70% of the current database. 30% will not be possible, right?
That's fair.
Now, you can also ask people as part of it, as part of that, early, engagement stuff, you can ask them to update their details and all that type of stuff too as well. The point is that when you ask companies, how much do you think it costs you per record to build that database? It's about $10 a record. Okay. So it's not unusual for companies to have like a $10, $20, $30 million database that they're about to lose, or they don't know how to mine. Okay. And the number, all the time you'll find that somebody, has gone on to work at Intel, or has gone on to work at Emirates, or has gone on to work at Ecolab, and they're actually a great fit for you now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Great. Scott, thank you very much for joining the session. It's been wonderful. I'm going to leave the details on where, especially clients in this region can get in touch with us. We will do other webinars as well, especially feature-specific webinars in the coming weeks and months. We will share updates in a similar fashion, so people know how when new updates are rolled out, so people know how to use those technologies. But do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. What would you, when you think about the specific challenges in the MENAP and Emirates and in your markets, and you think about what it is that our technology can bring to the table, where do you see if you were from a head of talent acquisition point of view, where do you see the opportunities?
Every region is unique. So if you talk about UAE, and if you talk about Saudi and other countries in the region, so UAE has its own sets of unique challenges. Saudi has its own set of unique challenges. But overall, I think because UAE is a lot more transient, we've got a much bigger number of expat population working here, expat professionals. And, there is continuously, UAE is attracting new talent all the time. I think the recruitment service providers, the staffing agencies, would be a great point of contact to start off, with this, because they have massive databases. And like you said, because there are so many shifts going on in the region, so much new talent coming in, old talent shifting out, this is something that they need to have to keep their database refreshed, not just to keep track of the new talent, but also to know where is the old talent, because opportunities come and go across the region, and you might be looking for someone who you hired 3 years ago, and you still need to keep in touch with that individual. So something like this would really help the staffing agencies to keep track and to keep their database fresh. But at the same time, companies, we've got some big companies in this region who also have huge databases, and they have huge systems. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask, and I left it out for the next session, but since you mentioned organizations, how does the integration work? Does Candidate.ID integrate to things like Oracle and SAP?
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, so we've got a very, we're modern technology, so we've got a very open API architecture. So, of course, it's easy to set up it's technically possible to set up a bidirectional sync, and but the challenges can often be more on the Oracle or the SAP side. But yeah, no, we've definitely have done it, and it is a bidirectional sync where the two systems are talking to each other, so that, for example, we'll take a job feed, when jobs gets posted, that automatically creates a pipeline, and automatically people get added to a nurture campaign. The minute that a candidate, gets into a stage of in conversation for something, they get suppressed within Candidate.ID, so they don't get, any further engagement. So we do all of that stuff, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Look, that's about all from our end. Once again, thank you for joining us. It's been lovely to see how Candidate.ID works, and we look forward to bringing some of the big companies on board, so we can have a track record in this region as well. So
excellent. Look, I really appreciate the opportunity. Keep
great.
Well. Thanks again, Danish.
You too. Take care. And I'm going to pose. So, are there any questions? Let's just ask if there are any questions from the panel. If you have any questions, you can write them in chat, and Scott is here, and we can address those questions. Just give them a few minutes if there are any questions here. Otherwise, we will be posting the recording, and we will be posting a contact us link under the recording, where you can find us, and you can always get information and schedule your demos to see how Candidate.ID can benefit you and your organization.
Excellent. That's great.
Okay. So. Okay.
That's us.
Yep. I think it's. We will leave information for contact us below the webinar once this is finished and it's up on the blog. But thank you very much. Take care, Scott.
You too.
Speak to you soon. Take care.
Cheers, Dennis. Take care. Be well.
Bye.
Bye.